What's up, you guys? It's T, and welcome back to another segment of Books with T. And today we are going to be talking about Lights Out by Navessa Allen. So, I actually look at a lot of, different reviews on this book. People said it's really good, and it just kept on popping up on all my feeds everywhere. So, I was like, I really need to just read it. I actually listened to the audible, and then I like read along to it too. And when I tell you, top tier. When it comes to certain things in this book, and I can say Navessa Allen did her thing. Okay, so is it Novessa? Yeah, it's Novessa. Making sure I'm saying your name right, girl. All right, so we're going to start at the beginning of the book, of course, and we're going to go through just a little summary of it, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts at the end, as always. So it starts with a trauma nurse who is just trying to find herself relaxing because of her job, and her name is Allie. That's the main character. So Allie she's in this profession, and it's very traumatic. She's just like, oh my gosh, she sees crazy things every day, and she finds herself relaxing and decompressing by looking at masked men online. On social media, she's scrolling. She's got one in particular that she really likes. Now, she also has this thing about like commitment as well. So, of course, a girl has needs, and she's like, well, I don't really want to be in a relationship. So she has somebody that she calls, that she hooks up with from time to time when she's not so busy, and the urge is there. And she texts him this specific video that she wants to act out with him um in bed, and his name is Tyler, and he's like, no, I'm not into that, basically. And he also ended up getting a girlfriend, and so she's like, dang, like, that sucks. So of course she was kind of like, oh, I'm not mad at you because of course we're just like hooking up and stuff. She was like, well, she's gotta move on, keep working, she'll figure it out. But she is a very feral woman in the comments when it comes to her social media page, and it is kind of funny how feral she is. So she actually sends like this DM to the actual masked man, not thinking that he is going to respond to it or anything. On the other side of this, Tyler ends up showing the video and the request to his roommate, and his roommate, his name is Josh. Now, Josh is like, oh my gosh, really? That's what she wants? And he has a little secret that we find out pretty quick from his point of view, that he is the masked man that she is so feral about, and that she is like, you know, all into and stuff. And he is actually into her. And he's like, I'm going to make her dreams come true. Okay. So he ends up stalking her. He breaks into her house, and he films a video there. And mind you, Allie was freaked out that he did this. Um, and he ends up like getting into this cat and mouse game with her, because he's just like, he's like, you can't catch me, you don't know who I am. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna like figure out who you are. And she is actually liking it. So the thing is, it's like, is she messed up because she likes him? Is it like that they're playing this type of game that's really for the outside? It's kind of crazy. Like, honestly, I don't condone breaking into people's houses. I don't condone just scaring people like that. Like, everything that he's doing, is mostly illegal because he ends up putting like cameras in her house. He cyber stalks her, but I mean like she's cyber stalking him too. Um but he's just doing what she asked him to do at the end of the day. And I thought that it was so funny because I was like, the I thought it was so funny because I'm like, both of y'all are off your rockers the whole time I'm reading this, but I was like, y'all might be meant for each other. So as the story goes on, the fantasy continues with both of them. There's multiple times that Josh shows up in this mask, and Allie is trying to figure out who it is. And she basically knows who it is, but she's trying to like not like give it away real quick. She has like an idea of who it could be. But her knowing that Josh also has other secrets that he wants to keep because he knows that his past might scare, most people away. And he knows that a lot of things have happened due to like his father being, you know, an issue in his life and things like that. So he has trauma, she has trauma. They both are like on the same side of the coin when it comes to stuff. So the way that they act together, it makes sense. So as they play this cat and mouse game going back and forth, they they actually grow into knowing each other. Some acts happen. I'm not gonna get into it because I really want y'all to read it. So I'm not gonna give like all the details, but I'm gonna give you the key points in the story that made me like want to keep reading. So after one of their encounters, she goes back to he ends up spending the night somehow. He has his mask on and he's like, oh my gosh, like I gotta get out of this mask because it's like hot and I'm sweating and all of that. But he ends up going back to his house and whatnot. And she has gotten to the point where she's trying to figure out who he is. She ends up taking some of his DNA. I think she had a strand of hair off a coat or something, and she ends up giving it to one of her nurse friends to figure out who he is. She also like just does some other investigations. She asked her ex hookup, which is Tyler, because at this point in the story she doesn't know, like in the beginning, that is Josh. She just has like, some just inkling that it might be. She asked if he could help her figure out who is stalking her and who has hacked into her computer and all this stuff. So Josh is helping her find him, and it's so funny because he's like, she doesn't know I'm smarter than her when it comes to this stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. She ends up going to work that night, and a person came in that nobody wanted to actually help because he is one of those creepy guys, and he's just real eerie. He's a rich kid that keeps on getting away with doing bad things to women. Allie went over and she decided that she was going to like, treat him so he can go ahead and get out of the hospital because she was like, we shouldn't have to be dealing with him at all. His name is Brad. Now Brad, he is a trip. He says really nasty things to Allie and is basically trying to like just hit on her, and it's not happening. And then he says nasty things about her friends as well. And this isn't the first time he's entered the hospital or somebody has entered the hospital because of him. And they as nurses have been talking, and they know that somebody's covering up for him because he is rich. So she ends up low key threatening him, and he goes off and he's like telling everybody that she's threatening him and trying to like sue the hospital because the nurse was not doing her job. But Allie was doing her job. He was just being a prick. Now, this being said, Josh has seen all of this go down. Except for the part where he was like threatening her. And he picks her up and is like, hey, like, I'm gonna take you home. Like, you just need to decompress for the day. So, of course, he's being a boyfriend without having that boyfriend title. We love those, right? Um, not really, but let's be honest. Like they are cute. They're like a couple. They're a thing, but they don't know that they're a thing yet because they're still playing this mouse cat and mouse game. Because he's still wearing that dang on mask this whole time. It's crazy. So they keep on going. He takes her home and whatnot, and they end up getting into it. They um have some fun time afterwards, and then they wake up. A couple of like, times go past. She's still going to work after this incident and things. And then one day he spends the night over at her house, the mask man. And he's about to leave and somebody has broken into her house. And the person that has broken in is Brad. Now, Brad breaks into the house, and Brad breaking into the house, he gets knocked out by Josh or the masked man, whatever you want to call him at this point. And then Allie's like, oh my God, like, for real? You knocked him out? And she's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. So, like, he gets beat up, and then they tie him up, and they're like, okay, he's got to go somewhere. He can't, like, be here because we can't call the police. Because at this point, Josh has not told her that he's, like, real not keen on the police because of his past. And she's just like, I'm not calling the police because, like, he's not even supposed, like, this is just crazy or whatever. So they end up putting him in the car. They taped his mouth up, put him in the car, and they made this whole plan to like take him somewhere and make an alibi where he got caught out in the area where with the family. He's got caught with the family trying to get where the family was that the previous victim, I can't talk, y'all. The previous victim that he assaulted, her family was there. So they were just gonna drive him there to like, get his just desserts. While this happened, they get to that area and they're about to open when they open the trunk, Allie goes, it's not funny, it's actually crazy. Allie goes, he's dead. And Josh goes, what? He said you taped his mouth and you taped his nose. So that happening, Josh feels sick and he ends up taking his mask off and like puking his guts out. And him doing that made it so obvious who he was. And Allie was like, oh, I knew it was you the whole time, but we have bigger things to deal with. We have a dead man in our trunk now. Now, the thing is that it was an accident because he didn't mean to do it, but now Josh is like freaking out and he's like willing because he's like, oh my gosh, like I just killed a man and I didn't want to kill a man. I killed a man. So bless his heart. Now Allie takes over and she's like, yeah, I know this is happening, but I know who we can go to. And it gets crazier. She's like, I know who we could go to. She goes, yeah, we're going to go to my uncle. He said, I didn't think you had family. Of course, because Josh is, he's a hacker. He He was like, I didn't know you had family. He's like, yeah, I have family, but I just don't talk about them because, they're part of the, guess what, you guys, the mafia. So I was like, this book, at this point, that book was like going crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, this book, this is adding on to it. Like, I was enjoying myself while reading this. Allie's uncle's part of mafia. And she takes them to her uncle's house. Her uncle's like mad because like you just brought death on our doorsteps and the feds everywhere. Like, what are you doing, Allie? Allie's like, I'm just you said you if I ever needed you, I could, be over here. So I need you right now. So yep, that happened. They got that situation cleared up. It took a couple of weeks. And of course, it was a favor for a favor. Because in most mafia tropes and mafia romances and whatever type of mafia books you read, there's always an eye for an eye, a bargain for a bargain. Some of them aren't always clean, but they were family. But he was like, anything you need, but also I need something. So they ended up taking Josh and did his hacking skills to clean up everything. They ended up having to go back into Brad's house so that they could clean up any other evidence. That being said, Allie being stubborn like Allie is, Allie was like, I'm going to go in there with Josh. Josh was like, no, I don't want you to go because that's dangerous and we're trying to not get in trouble and, like, keep this clear and keep you out of trouble and me out of trouble and stuff. And it was like, oh, okay. But she ends up going with her family and like her cousins and stuff with him to do this. And conveniently, his parents were there trying to clean up his mess because his parents at this point don't know that Brad is, gone. Um, but they think he ran away. And that being said, they were like, well, we got to clean up his mess before anybody else comes around. So in that happening, the police did an investigation, found the parents at the house trying to do what they were doing because they set off an alarm, not to get caught. Um, Allie and Josh, not to get caught, they set off an alarm. So them setting off that alarm, the police came and found Josh's parents, and it became a whole thing of like the heat was on them and not on Allie and Josh at that point. So after that was cleared up, Allie and Josh were at the end of the road with, their stuff. But they grew closer at the end of the book, and they do have a bonus chapter, and it was really cute to see it. He They became boyfriend and girlfriend before by the time the Brad situation happened, they were boyfriend and girlfriend after that, and they lived happily ever after, basically. So honestly, I gave you like a little short snippet of a lot, but I'm gonna tell you that this story was peak for me because it was real different. Honestly, again, I don't condone like stalker knife play, things like that. I'm not condoning any of that for people to be encouraged to do. Okay, but to each their own for any of the things that go on in this book. Honestly, you just have to read it to know about it. I gave you like the briefest briefest like commentary over it, but I gave you the points and the tea on the things that you might find very interesting in the book that are kind of PG. Um, and honestly, it's a good book, y'all. The banter in the book, top tier. The comedy, I never thought I would laugh so much at a fictional character in my life until I read this book. And reading it and listening to it and reading it at the same time is like peak, top tier. I've said that a lot. And I'm gonna be honest, I really just enjoyed it. And really enjoying a book is like all you can do. Really, honestly, it is. So I would say I would give this book like a good rating. Like honestly, it's 11 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to say. It's up there. It's really up there. But it just depends on the type of person who's reading it or who's into this stuff. But honestly, I think it's a read for everybody, and I really want to read her other books in her series. This was the first one that I read, and I was like, this is good. The writing was good, clarity and everything. Honestly, like I felt like I was there just immersed in the book. So I can't complain too much about anything. Honestly, it was just a good read. And having that type of just communication between characters and then tying it into everything and connecting, like having a whole loop and a connection to, like, I don't know how some of these authors brains work, but y'all go awesome. Shout out to every author out there that's writing right now, because you guys, the brain and the imagination that you guys have, I love it, and I'm here for it because I'm reading it and I'm soaking it up. So Navessa, keep doing your thing. um I might be up here reading some more of your books. Let's just be honest. I just took a shot on this one because everybody was talking about it. I was like, maybe I should check it out. So I did. So yeah, I think that you should check it out as well, you guys. If y'all have any comments or if you already read this book and you want to, like add to some of the things that I might have not said, or things that you think are really like that were standout chapters in the book that you want to like put in the comments, go ahead. Because honestly, I really was just enjoying the read. I didn't have a specific chapter that I was like, oh, this is great. All of it was great to me, honestly. I was just reading it and I was just there. I loved it. Honestly. And if you have not checked out the Audible, this is not a paid anything right now. I'm not just like shouting them out to shout them out. Um or like, getting paid to shout them out. But try it on Audible too. It's it's a good it's a good read. It's a good listen and a good read, honestly. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for coming and staying and listening to me rant a little bit and review Lights Out. Again, you guys are amazing, lovely, wonderful, and awesome. So I will see you in the next episode, and happy reading.